Alrighty, happy Friday everyone. I hope you're all having an amazing week so far as we approach the weekend. We have a lot of things to talk about when it comes to the current state of Disney, what's going on with Bob Iger, and how things really are beginning to crumble over at Lucasfilm and everything Star Wars, Marvel, and more, the Disney boycott specifically, and why Bob Iger is losing control behind the scenes between himself, the board, and more. This is Mike Zero. Subscribe if you're new and like this video to see future updates. I'm also on Twitter at Mike01. I thank you also very much for the great and kind support. And let's get right into what's up with Bob Iger, essentially, and this Disney boycott. Now, we know that there has been a lot of problems happening behind closed doors ever since Indiana Jones 5 dropped, and it has been going through a very nightmarish situation for Lucasfilm, for Disney, and Bob Iger's legacy of having yet another failure that is very much worse than Elemental in my book. And when you look at things like this, we know that there's a lot of problems coming out of Disney, where Iger recently admitted that there's a lot of issues that they have to fix and focus on to make adjustments to address a lot of their current problems by making cutbacks and their cost containment plan about spending less and making less to kind of create that balance. And that's how Disney is trying to survive, essentially. And this really is quite crazy that we live in a time now where we have a Disney company, right? Somebody as big as Disney that has to initiate a cost containment plan to keep things afloat. So, I digress. Let's get right into exactly what's going on here behind closed doors. Now, with Disney CEO Bob Iger now completely restructuring Disney from within, recently another emergency meeting took place between Iger and the board just after the box office numbers came to a near pause since other hit films debuted in theaters. Now, one major development is that Bob Iger ran into heated arguments with the Disney board over losing subscribers from Disney Plus that they plan to update, by the way, to the general public in the near future. That shows a sign of failure, even more so as well as a downturn of interest in both Star Wars and the Marvel Cinematic Universe. This is exactly why Iger made the announcement on backing off from Marvel and some elements of Star Wars after his emergency meeting with the board about the apparent Disney boycott. Now, many board members are reportedly pressing other members of the board to lower rates for the Disney parks to spark interest again at their parks, as well as creating a special, expensive project build to take over the Galactic Star Cruiser Hotel to boost foot traffic again for Galaxy's Edge. Now, Iger is reportedly losing control over at Disney and is trying to appear calm and confident on camera during his most recent interviews. Now, guys, let me stop here quick. Now, we know that there's a lot of problems when it comes to this Disney boycott. A lot of people out there have been really choosing their vacations wisely now to not attend Disney and to go elsewhere, maybe be it Universal or maybe other locations out there. There's a lot of places to go, let's be honest here. And if Disney's not going to meet with the family's expectations of rate hikes and, reducing those hikes or reducing those rate fees, they really have to really rethink everything. And it's not just about the parks, right? We've talked about this, that it has a lot to do with Disney Plus, and what's going on right now behind the scenes is that they have recognized a loss of subscribers again for Disney Plus, and how they have to make that announcement in the coming months about those garnered, loss of subscribers. Now, that's another problem, is that Disney hates this specifically. They hate it when people sign up for one show, and then they just binge it and they leave. Disney doesn't like that, and it's quite hilarious that there are a lot of people that do this. I know a lot of you out there are going to do that with Star Wars Ahsoka. You're going to wait till all the episodes bundle up, and then you're just going to sign up for, a couple of days, binge it, and then leave. People do that, and Disney doesn't like that. That is one big thing that Disney does not like about that current trend. Now, the thing about this, too, is how Bob Iger, in response to this Disney boycott, about how fans are just not seeing Indiana Jones 5, about how there is a loss of interest, by the way, as well, about Star Wars and the Marvel Cinematic Universe to an extent, That's why he's creating a lot of these cutbacks and a lot of these reductions. Moving further, the truth of the matter is that it is chaos over at Disney as they are embracing yet another incoming failure for the Marvels, okay? The board and Iger are trying to accept specific marketing plans for that film by reducing costs, but also getting it out to as many people as possible. Now, in response to this Disney boycott, okay, Bob Iger is also initiating a response to that by putting out more quality-driven movies and shows for Star Wars, Marvel, Disney, and more, and changes will be made coming to ESPN in the coming months. Also, in response to this boycott, Iger is moving forward with both a Lucasfilm purge and a Disney purge that is going to involve many firings at both companies, where some changes are also coming to the parks in response to this overall boycott. Now look, we know that Bob Iger has been responding to a lot of the fan base, a lot of the communities out there, and how they view Disney, really shooting down a lot of claims, trying to appear, more innocent than he really is. At the end of the day, we know that Bob Iger has made a lot of bad calls, a lot of terrible decisions, must I add, including allowing Kathleen Kennedy to do what she did with Indiana Jones 5, Willow, and the entirety of Star Wars. And yet, we know that they're pointing fingers at the marketing of Indiana Jones 5, which is the worst scapegoat possible. You can't get worse than that. I mean, we all know the truth as to why Indiana Jones 5 failed. A lot of it had to do with The Sound of Freedom, Mission Impossible 7, Insidious Chapter 5, as well as just the story of Indiana Jones 5. Indy 5 really had a very poor and dull, depressing plot that did not resonate with people. And word of mouth got out there, and people chose to take that word of mouth at value and stayed at home. And they watched something else. They went to go ahead and see other movies, or they just didn't and enjoying their summer, basically, is what it comes down to. So, Bob Iger and the board, by the way, I put full blame on the board too for this, because that's the true root of the problem, is the board. The board needs to be completely changed, or at least partially changed, to create less chaos over at Disney, because there's a division. There's a very big division over at the board. There's a lot of those that support Kathleen Kennedy, and there's a lot of those that are against 100% of what Kathleen Kennedy is doing with Lucasfilm. And it's not just a matter of that, there's also a divide on how they view Bob Iger. So, that's why they're giving him this chance to see, can he work with the Marvels? Can he work with Wish? Can he also work with The Haunted Mansion coming out on July 28th, I believe it is? If those begin to succeed, they're going to have more faith that he should stay for 2024. Because let's all face it, Chapek also got his contract renewed back in June of 2022 for 3 years. And look, where is he now? He's fired. So anyways, guys, drop a comment below. Fill me in below in the comments what you all have to say about this. And if you guys did enjoy the content for today, make sure to drop a thumbs up on this video to support the channel. And I will catch you guys next time.
From night to moon, we hear them moans again.